from Belém in Brazil at COP30. We're at the World Nuclear Association's Net Zero Nuclear stand, and it is my pleasure to be joined by Lucas Rodrigues, an international relations student at Federal University of Pelotas in south of Brazil. So we're going to talk about Lucas's life growing up in and close to Angra too. So going on to the growing up near the power plant. Can you describe what it was like growing up near a nuclear power plant and how it shaped your sense of safety or normalcy?
Well, I've been to Angra for a long time. I went there when I was 9 years old, so I spent my late childhood and early teenagehood over there. And I always saw the nuclear power plant as the place where my father worked, where my friend's father and mothers used to work, and I saw it as the company because just putting things into perspective, the nuclear power plant of Angra 2 is located far from the city of Angra. It's around 40 kilometers away from Angra and about 50 kilometers away from Paraty, which is the other city nearby. So here we can see the village in which I grew up because we used to call this place Villa, and there are three villages over there for the employees. So I used to go to school. I used to talk about the nuclear power plant at home and also at school. So it was part of my daily life. And I think I always saw the signs. I always saw the people talking about the nuclear power plant, about the safety procedures and all. And I just saw it as normal. Like my routine was part of it.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what role did your father have at the plant? You mentioned that he worked there. Did he work there for a long time? What did
Yeah.
he do?
He worked there for 15 years now, so it's from 2010 up to now 2025. He's an electrician engineer, and after this test that he passed, he worked in other companies before. He graduated from a university in São Paulo, and when he started here, he started as working the crew because you have the main control room and you have the shift manager. So he worked at the beginning as crew, and nowadays he is the leader of one of the crews from the control room from Angra 2, which is the newest one.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the community perception. So how did your town, village generally perceive the plant? Was it a source of pride? Was it a source of concern? It feels like the former, but what do you think?
It was never a source of concern because first of all, we were aware of all the safety procedures. Not only because my parents used to talk to me about that, but because everywhere in the village you had like safety personnel, you have people there, you had signs telling what to do in different scenarios. We had buses that would go and pick us up and bring us to different places if we had to. So all of this was really clear. So I never felt afraid of the power plant. I saw it when I went to the beach, so I could see the power plant from afar, and I knew my father was working there, and everything was safe. That was my perception, and it was my friend's perception, it was my family's perception, because there is this stereotypical image of what a nuclear power plant is, but actually it's one of the safest ways of producing energy and one of the safest types of industry in general.
Lovely, thank you. Earlier on, you touched on the education element. So it talked about within the school, the nuclear power plant was talked about. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, first of all, also putting things into perspective, there are schools in the villages as well. There are public schools and private schools. In this village over here, there is a public school. And in the other village, from the other employees, which is the place that my parents live right now, there are three schools. And I used to study in that one. And for example, during science fairs and any type of science-related subject, we used to touch like the subject of the power plant. We used to make like mock-ups of the power plant when we were like a bit younger. Yeah. But it was good because we had to explain to other people in the science fair what was the nuclear power plant. Even though people knew in general because their parents used to work there, it was something extraordinary to be able to talk about the place that my father used to work in school, and because it was so close to it. So yeah, my experiences about that.
Thank you. And continuing on from that, do you think having the plant close by has either influenced the career that you're looking to pursue or those of your friends that are there still?
That's a good question. I have to be honest about my perspective. I've always been someone focused in science in general from early childhood. Maybe because of that, probably because of my father, probably because of his studies as an engineer and all. But after I went to Paris, I spent 3 years there with Wana, which because my father used to work there as well, because he was borrowed by the company for 3 years, a contract for 3 years. And when I was there, I discovered that my field of expertise is more related to political science, international relations, literature, and all. But my friends, like most of them, have either worked for in the nuclear power plant for a while or are intending to work there after college. So it does shape our realities. And since it's so safe in all regards, we see the nuclear power plant as a place that we can go and work for.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shapes our reality.
Absolutely fantastic. And continuing on about the benefits of the nuclear plant, what does it power in your area? What is it giving back to the local community?
And it's something that people usually don't know. How is the electrical grid of our country? In case of Brazil, Angra 2 and Angra 1, they produce about 2 to 3% of the energy of the whole country. But we do have a specific scenario because our country is huge. So it's a continental country. We have lots of rivers and all. So even though it looks not a lot, 3%, but 3% of a huge country is a lot. It's half of the city of Rio, and Rio is a big city in Brazil. So we know that the energy that is produced in the power plant goes to the central and it gets delivered to other places in the country. So it's about that percentage, 3% of the grid.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And in terms of just moving on to kind of broader public perception, when people express concerns around nuclear energy, what is your sort of response? And do you base it on your experience growing up?
People's perception on things, and especially on nuclear energy, is shaped by what they heard about. And for example, when you hear about an accident, for example, you think that is the normal, but it's not. So I would like to use like the case of airplanes, for example. We know that airplanes are the safest way to travel because every day we have thousands of flights that take off and land in different parts of the world, and we know it's the safest one. And I use this analogy to talk about the power plant as well, because we only heard about 2 accidents in the whole history of nuclear power plants. And we have lots of nuclear power plants all over the world. So especially after my father visited other power plants, because he always talked about the safety measures in Angra 1 and Angra 2, but after he visited other power plants in Germany, in Japan, in the UK, like in different places all over the world, he realized that it's not only the case of Angra 1 and Angra 2. All power plants, they follow specific procedures. They follow procedures that were established by international organizations. So it is extremely safe. And not only the experience that I had, like personal experience, but hearing like technicians talk about it, I know for sure, and I try to talk to people and tell them that it is the safest one.
Lovely. You know, that's, yeah, and it is, you know, as you say, public perception is very much based on what they've heard and what they know. And you know, I think certainly it's really important to share your perspective, because I think it really helps people to kind of get a softer understanding of all the benefits that surround nuclear energy. So just moving on to almost my final question. So on Friday, we had an event at the UK Government Pavilion where we were talking around our tripling declaration and our Net Zero Nuclear initiative, where we're bringing together industry, government, financial institutions, and energy users to at least triple nuclear energy by 2050. What's your take on that, and what kind of thoughts do you have around it?
Well, I've been to several pavilions here that talk about nuclear, not only World Nuclear Association, but other pavilions here from IEA. IEA. I'm sorry, it's really hard to say that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I've seen many presentations about this subject, and since I'm studying international relations, and my thesis will be about COPs and climate justice and energy transition. I do believe that the nuclear plays an important role in all of this, especially because in countries that we don't have the possibilities that we have in Brazil, for example, we have a grid that is powered by solar, by wind, and by hydroelectric power plants because we have lots of rivers, we have this land. Countries that are smaller, they have fewer options. And since the best option out of those fewer options is nuclear, I think it's important to aim high. If we aim to triple the production, if we get to that, it's amazing. It will be part of a greener future in general. So I do think it's feasible, it's possible, and we should aim for that. Yes.
Lovely, thank you. And just finally, you have touched on it a little bit already, but we are at COP30, and we really are in agreement around nuclear energy and its essential role in the clean energy mix. Is there anything else that you think would be really good to see coming out of COP30 in relation to nuclear energy?
I think, first of all, raising awareness that nuclear power is green, because there has been controversial thoughts in the last few decades about it, but it is green. So if it doesn't emit carbon, it is green. Yeah. You might have issues related to waste, but you have procedures for that as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So since you have procedures for everything. It's so safe in general. So I think, first of all, raising awareness that it's a green energy. Second of all, it's important to state that it's a huge energy producer. So it's a feasible and possible option for the future. But to make a greener future, we need to have a diverse grid. And in order to have a diverse grid, you have to have the most technological power production that there is, and it is nuclear. And I think that's the second point. And I think that's it, actually. It's those two main points about what COP30 can reach in the future.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you so much, firstly, for seeking out the World Nuclear Association Pavilion and then spotting your childhood home. But thank you so much for speaking to us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you.